The podcast you are about to listen to is one of the many podcasts that is part of the College Huddle, the largest fan-led college sports podcast community on the internet. Fan-made, fan-driven, and fan-fueled. The College Huddle.
Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free!
Okay, next question.
I'm a horse football coach right now.
You know, I got shoved up, shoved it up. I got shoved it up.
What's up, Spartans fans? Episode 60 of the Spartans Savants podcast. We are sadly coming to you at the end of the Michigan State basketball season that reached its final stop Sunday evening against Auburn in the Elite Eight. Joined, of course, Nikki and Trav. We've got quite a bit to talk about. We'll talk about the Auburn game. We'll wrap the season up a little bit, and then we will get into some other stuff that has gone on this week for the Michigan State basketball team. But Nikki, how you feeling?
I'm all right. If you asked me this question every day this week, it would have been completely different. Because
Different answer every day.
It would have been interesting. I really just hope Mel Tucker's okay and he's safe.
I hope they find him.
I'm still looking for him.
Find that guy. Oh, Travis, how are you?
Yeah, I concur with Nikki. It's been a strange week not having anything to look forward to really in the sports world. So
It has. Yeah,
it's been tough. I mean, I'm not too disappointed, but at the same time, I am. You know.
Yeah. Will you guys be interested in the Final Four games on Saturday?
I mean, I'll watch them. Well,
I'll probably like to see mom and that.
Yeah,
I'll probably watch like the first half of the Natty or something. Once MSU loses, like it really just sucks.
Yep.
I mean, Duke's really the only team that I like absolutely hate in it. So
yeah, I don't want Auburn to win.
Yeah, that too. But
so, like I said, we kind of have a lot to talk about, but I don't think it'll be a terribly long show. I think there's just stuff to discuss. I want to start with the Auburn game and wrap up the season, and I think that deserves to be talked about without the stench of the transfer portal news. So we'll save that for the end, and we'll try to have as much wrap up of the season that we can and honor this team as the way it should without bringing in further developments. So they lost the game by 6. It truly really wasn't that close. They probably lost it by a lot more. I knew the game was over pretty early when they got down 23-8. And I was just kind of bummed out for the rest of the game. There was a couple times where I thought maybe they could bring it back. The shooting, obviously, the issue. The stretch where we just threw the ball at the rim for like an entire minute long without giving Auburn touching the ball, and we had 0 points after was really depressing. Aikens and Holloman just didn't really give us a chance to win. But Nikki, we've had some time to dissect it now. I think we're all in a similar headspace in terms of that game specifically, but talk to me about where you're at.
Yeah, March losses are usually like a top 5 worst day of the year for me.
Mm-hmm.
This loss, I wasn't happy after.
Mm-hmm.
I was committed to go to San Antonio, and I really didn't feel like doing that. So I kind of happy that I didn't have to drive 5.5 hours this weekend.
Yeah.
But this team really gave it their all. We all knew that shooting was eventually going to lose us a game. And we knew that having a 5 for 24 or whatever game was going to eventually happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that was going to be what got us. And it was.
mm-hmm.
I think we beat Auburn 3 out of 10 times. If we play them 10 times, we beat them 3 times.
Yeah.
This was not one of those days. This was probably one of those worst days that we could have had. But they didn't have that great of a day either. They were fine. They were just a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
Just a top heavy year. They were just a better team than us. And it just sucks. But this team did as well as they did better than really they should have this year.
Yeah, I would agree. They maximized their potential. I would agree with that. Trav.
Yeah, we, like you guys were saying, we just ran into a team that's better than us. That's pretty much what happened. That for a lot of the first half, I was saying, Broom had all their points. I was like, well, if we stop Broom, then this is a completely different game. But then he went out in the second half, and it really wasn't a completely different game without him. We made absolutely no progress with him sitting out. And that 15-point lead that you alluded to, I guess the positive to take away from that is it didn't get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was pretty even from that point on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was also a microcosm of what the season has been with the shooting woes and one big guy just absolutely dismantling our guys with how, especially one overly skilled big guy that's much more polished than the guys that we have. Just work in the paint and then stepping out and hitting that three. And when I knew it was over was probably that sequence that you talked about with the 3-pointers. We missed. We got every offensive rebound, had our best 3-point shooters put the ball up, and they missed like all 5 of them. And the last one from Trey Holloman, not to go at Trey or anything, but that looked like a 4th grade.
That'll be later.
3-point line.
It really wasn't close. Yeah, I think everything you guys said is true. I said going into Sunday, if they lose today, I will do my best to really not be upset. Like they like you said, Nick, they made it farther than they probably anyone expected them to. And they were playing the number 1 overall seed. Like how upset can you be if you lose to the number 1 overall seed when there's 8 teams left? And really at that time, 6 teams left. You just can't be that upset, especially when you look at, all right, we would have beat Auburn, let's say, great. Then we would have to play Florida, and then we probably have to play Duke. Like eventually 3 1 seeds in a row, you're gonna run into these situations. MSU to get past Auburn, they would have needed Auburn to slip up. They would have to play their best game. Then they would have had the same thing versus Florida. It's a season where I think this team has no reason to hang its head, nothing to be upset about. You would have liked Akins and Holloman to play better in that game, but we wouldn't be in that game without either of those two. And I think it's a team that will be held very in very high regard moving forward. I mean, obviously, it's not a Final Four team, but I think it will be remembered in similar aspects to a Final Four team just because of what they were, in terms of a true team in a college basketball landscape that just doesn't have that very much anymore. So I do think this team will be, they kind of brought Michigan State basketball back on the map in a way. It was a year we really saw Tom Izzo probably put more into the program than he has in terms of coaching in a very long time. So yeah, I think it was a tough loss Sunday, but I was at peace with it for the most part until Monday.
Then reality hits.
Yeah.
This sucks.
Yeah. But any thoughts on the season overall? I mean, obviously, Big Ten championship by 3 games. A pretty deep run in the tournament. Some really fun games. Nikki, what are you taking away?
I mean, I'll always love the fact that we got to watch Jace play. Maybe we'll get to see him again. I doubt it, but maybe. It was just, it just sucks because this whole transfer portal thing we're getting to later really kind of like dampened all the big positives about it. Like it felt like a return to Spartan basketball, a return to our culture.
Yeah.
It showed like these guys were all live, bleed Spartan dogs. And like you were saying, I do think this team will age well. I don't think we'll really care about the transfers after, like in 5 years from now. We'll probably all be like, "Oh, I love Trey." I mean the logo thing was awesome. That was just a time
so cool. Yeah,
like this was probably so. I mean, if Izzo was 8 Final Fours, this is probably the ninth best team.
Yeah,
I honestly might even put it above 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team is more enjoyable to watch than 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, that team was a heart attack waiting
That
to
team
happen.
made me want.
We beat Navy by 2 to start the season.
Yeah. Travis?
Yeah, I feel similarly. I mean, to see a team like this go from what they were the past couple of years and, last year, the preseason number 4 team in the country to a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament and 1 tournament win, and then to come right back to unranked and then all of a sudden take the Big Ten by 3 games, like you said, and go get a number 2 seed and honestly be in the conversation a little bit for a 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that hadn't happened since the Draymond Green senior year, and this team went further than that team did. So it's hard to deal with getting knocked out in March, obviously, but it's also hard to blame anybody for anything negative that happened this year, because it really was overall a very positive season.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I was looking at, the other Elite Eight games, like there were not a lot of close games. Duke blew out Alabama. Florida pulled away from Texas Tech late, but it ended up the score-wise was not close. And then
if I was Texas Tech, I would have been sick to my stomach.
Yeah, that would have been really tough.
If MSU lost like that,
yeah.
Oh, I would not be over that.
No.
I would not be even close to being over that.
Yeah. And then Houston, I mean, Tennessee was never in that game.
Oh, yeah.
That was over before it started. And so Michigan State, I mean, they took the number 1 overall seed. They lost by 6 points? Was it that close? Probably not. But, that was a game it was probably the closest Elite Eight game out of any of them, probably.
And weirdly, we had our chances to cut into it late. That's the very weird thing. Like, it's as bad as it was, we weren't totally out of it.
Totally. You can go to specific plays or stretches where if like that shot drops, or if we just hit those 2 shots and they miss that shot, that game looks a lot different. I think, Nick, you nailed it. If we play them 10 times, we probably win 3. I mean, they were an older team.
Fair. Yeah.
All of these teams are so old.
Yeah. Thanks, COVID. Yeah.
Right. Can we talk about Janai Broom? I mean, I might come off a little insensitive, maybe, and this might not be. Oh, our listeners aren't going to care, but you were laying it on a little thick, don't you think? I mean, with the injury coming out, then coming back, like that was a little dramatic. I mean, it was all for show.
Yeah. Yeah, he was saying, I'm out, basically, to the team, and we were all looking around like, okay, he's done. Let's make a run. Let's go. But
yeah,
he was holding his elbow for the rest of the game. I mean, it was kind of reminded me of Paul Pierce with the wheelchair. But yeah, I mean, it was, I think it was a great season. The team has everything to be proud of and nothing to feel sorry about. So they gave us everything they had since November, and I think we're all very appreciative of that.
One thing I can say for sure is this definitely was the most fun season we've watched in football or basketball since recording.
No kidding.
Yes.
Seriously.
Since the show started.
A high bar.
Yeah. No, not quite.
If we lost in the first round, it probably still would have been.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good margin.
Yeah. Not too many mentions of this script this season, which is nice.
No, the script this season
a different
awesome.
script.
I hope
it was
we bring
a different
it back.
script.
No,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe make a couple more threes in the next draft.
Yeah.
I meant the dreaded part of the script.
Yeah.
The vanity comeback.
Oh yeah.
No, we were like,
those teams were fun.
But basically, that's kind of what the Auburn game looks like. Big time vanity.
Yeah. It looked like a 2023 game. Yeah.
I mean, Aiken's just drilling those threes at the end. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, where was this 10 minutes ago?
Waits all night to wake up.
I want to not care anymore, man. Can you just...
Please stop. Just let it stop.
I've admitted defeat. Don't give me hope.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Yeah. Anything else?
We won a
Before
banner.
we-
We beat the shit out of the Big Ten, which was really
We
nice.
did.
Yeah.
We did. Absolutely. I mean, this team deserves a lot of flowers. I mean, it's
First team to
hard.
win 17 Big Ten games.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
crazy.
Yep.
In a
They
20-team league or 18-team league, whatever.
Yep, they beat the deepest Big Ten conference. They won it by 3 games. It's a season where I think we'll all look back, whether it's next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now. I think that this team will be looked back on very fondly in this season in general. People will have strong memories about, because there really hasn't been a reason to get all that excited about Michigan State basketball since 2019. And we had that back for a while, and a couple bounces away from going back to a Final Four. So it was a good season. Yeah. Any other thoughts before we get into the next portion?
That's getting to the bad parts.
All right. Transfer portal. Obviously, Monday the news comes out. Was it Monday? Yeah,
It was
Monday.
Tuesday. It was April Fool's Day.
Tuesday, April Fool's Day.
Because I was like, okay, that's the worst, most obvious fake joke ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Trey Holloman announces that he's transferring. Little bit of, I think, a shock to the Michigan State world. I think beat writers and journalists missed some of the tea leaves. Just from what I'm reading, I think that it was so unexpected that they weren't looking for it. So I'm not trying to blast them or anything. I just don't think they knew to even be looking for that. And then we have Xavier Booker and Gary Gorman, who I don't think are very surprising. I think the headliner here is Trey, just after all he's been through this season, and his reaction at the end of the game. I think you could make an argument, it's probably his reaction was that strong because he knew he was leaving. But I mean, Nick, I'll just start with you. Where does this stand with you, Trey Holloman?
I mean, honestly, I'm at peace with it now. I get it now. The first 3 hours after that happened, I think I wanted him dead. And
Yeah.
it was because I mean the whole we all felt good because the whole thing was these guys are Spartan dogs. We're the last team with culture in the Big Ten, the last or in the country, the last team that cares. And then the embodiment of that. If you told me anyone was gonna leave, he was last on the list. Guarantee him or Fears are not leaving.
Right.
And he was the one to leave. I remember I saw a text a while back, I think on Twitter about him shopping around, and I was like, okay, he's a Michigan fan, whatever. Nobody cares.
Mhm. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I guess it sounds like he wants to be the starting point guard. He sacrificed a ton. I mean, he ended up getting benched. And he had no problem with that. He was a dog. I mean, he clearly bleeds green. And I think he will be remembered very fondly, especially if we're good this year. And this next year, I think it'll be if we suck next year and whatever team he's at is sick and he's really good. I mean, dead to me for life, obviously.
Not going to go over well with the Green and White fans. That's not gonna play.
If we're good next year, whatever, I don't care. I mean, he's probably not going to the NBA realistically.
Right. Yeah.
And that sounds like the money he's going to make is going to be very significant. And if we were to pay him that much, we basically would have to give every single person on our team an even more significant raise.
Right.
Which is, I understand why not doing that, because he's just not going to be our starting point guard next year.
Right.
So, I mean, this is probably this next year will probably be the most money he ever makes for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Not saying he won't be successful, obviously, but he's probably just going to make an obscene more money than I'll ever see in my life next year.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
no doubt.
The kissing thing kind of makes me think maybe Tom knew and was he's a dog.
Yeah. I thought about that too. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely that came to my mind too. Did they know something? But I think it definitely makes it easier to understand or to swallow when you kind of think about okay, if he wants to be a starting point guard, can't do that at Michigan State. If he wants to maximize his NIL value, probably not going to do that at Michigan State. So, it's like, how do you blame a kid for doing that? But Travis, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Initially I was really pissed off, obviously, but the more you think about it, the more it makes sense for him, and you can't really blame the kid for doing what he needs to do. It makes you think, like, if you can lose a Trey Holloman, then how screwed are we when it comes to NIL and
Right.
building a team? Like, we know the way Izzo wants to build a team. I even wrote an article last week defending the way that he's built the team and everything like that. And it's very clear now that that's just completely disappeared in college sports, even more than I thought at all. And it has me not really concerned so much about Holloman, but as a college sports fan, concerned about like college sports and the transfer portal in general. And especially as a Michigan State guy, we don't like, I don't know details on any of the NIL payments, but you never hear about us giving these huge contracts like these other schools are.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when they start throwing bags of cash at everybody that we're in on, and suddenly we're losing everybody? So that's where my mind goes.
I do have a thought about that, actually. I don't think that's going to be a big deal personally, because I think every single player is getting tampered with right now. And again, I think the big thing for Izzo is he doesn't want someone on the team making way more than everybody else. So, like, if we have to give a massive bag to Fears, Cohen, and the rest, I think Trey Holloman is the odd man. I think Trey Holloman was just the odd man out there.
No, I'm not even just talking about the team right now, though. I'm talking about down the line.
Yeah, I think we have. I think we have the money to put together a team, but we might lose one or two guys a year just based off of being the odd man out. Like, there's no way in hell we do not have the resources to build an extremely good team.
I'm not arguing that. I'm arguing we don't put the resources to work.
I think that's
well enough. Yeah.
I think probably I'm with you both. I think the amount of money, I do not think is a concern. I think if Izzo wanted $2.5 million for one player, he could have it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is going to be more strategic about how he deploys his money than other coaches might be. He wants to build a team. That's pretty clear. To Nick's point, I don't think he wants to pay someone significantly more than someone else. Doesn't want that shit in his locker room. Yeah. Well, I mean,
what college coach wants that to happen? They're doing it out of necessity.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah. The Final Four.
Yeah. No, I think to your point, Travis, I think it's an eye-opening moment, and it opens your eyes to what college basketball and college football is going to be like moving forward. Mm-hmm. And this is going to sound like sour grapes because my team just lost a player that I didn't think we were going to lose, but it sucks. Like, I don't like this version of college sports so far.
If you can lose a Trey Holloman 3 weeks after he was standing up for the program at midcourt, then nobody's safe.
Yeah. Nobody's safe.
Exactly.
And there's officially no doubt. And MSU has been lucky enough to avoid this issue since the transfer portal thing kind of became a thing. So, like, it was going to come to our doorstep eventually. I just didn't necessarily think it would be with Trey Holloman. Yeah. But again, I think that there were some signs that just people missed, and it was not getting reported. Booker and Normand, I think that, again, I don't think those are massively surprising.
You could see those coming.
Yeah. I really hope it works out for Booker somewhere. If there's an avenue for him to stay, I'd be absolutely open to that. I don't necessarily think we necessarily need the big man spot, 4 spot. I think we're okay there. But like, he's someone you can definitely see there's talent there, and you want it to work out. But wishing him the best, and obviously the same for Garrick Norman, but and for Trey Holloman too. Obviously, don't mean to leave him out, but yeah, I think Trev, I would echo exactly what you said. If you can lose Trey Holloman, that's
The
That better
system's
be
broken.
the
There's
the
very,
wake-up call
very
that
easy
no
way to
one
put
is
it.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just don't like it. Where it's like my favorite player could be gone tomorrow
Yeah.
for a little more cash.
I mean,
I
basically,
remember growing up watching
expect
these
your
guys play
favorite-
4 years.
Expect your favorite player to be gone. Every
Right.
year.
I mean,
Like, you're losing.
Nick,
Like, yeah, it just sucks. Like, what the
yeah.
hell?
What Nick said in the group chat the other day about Jaden Akins being possibly the very last 4-year Spartan scared the shit out of me.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Fuller and Cooper next year.
Yeah, I mean there are
As of
others,
now-
but no.
As of right now,
What scared the shit out of me was I couldn't come up with an argument for why he wouldn't be, other
Yeah,
than those guys. Like it makes way too much sense.
Yeah.
yeah,
And so the roster next year,
we have
a bleaker look. I mean, it's a bleaker look than it was Monday. Jace is probably gone. I
Yeah.
thought it was 50-50. Now it seems like
It
70-30,
seems, yeah.
maybe more. So you've got Fears, Kohler,
Cooper,
Nick Sanders is our backup point guard.
Nick Sanders,
Kurtang,
Kurtang, Carr, likely
McCullough, Carr, Ward,
Scott.
Scott. Yeah,
and
that's it.
yeah. So like they really need a wing. Like they really need like a 2 or 3.
Yep.
Carr probably plays the 4, and then Kohler and Cooper at the 5.
They could use another body underneath for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think McCullough. They talk very highly of him. People that are at practices speak very highly of McCullough. They said he probably would have played this year if they needed him. But they just didn't need him with the 3 guys they had down low.
They were running 4 for most of the year too.
Yeah.
That's what makes me think they need another body in there. He was running 4 all year. 4 would be a good number to have, but it's also a very big luxury in college basketball.
The whole strength and numbers thing. We do not have that anymore.
Yeah. But I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I did see something about them looking into the LSU transfer.
Saw that.
So he's 6'5" and had similar numbers to Trey Holloman. So
okay. And
9 points a game, 45% from 3-point range.
Hey, 45%. We like that.
Yeah.
I
think that I hope that wasn't just field goal percentage. I thought I saw it was 3-point range, but
Ward, the freshman, should be freshman out of Maryland, I think will play next year.
I've read that he's like the most game ready freshman we've had in since Jaren Jackson, and we've had Jace Richardson.
I was gonna say that's pretty.
That's a good.
Yeah, you're skipping right over the most recent one. He's technically still in the program, hasn't left yet.
Yeah. When do you think we'll have a decision on Jace soon?
I don't think so. Probably.
I mean, because
in the next week.
I feel like
more.
I feel like in the next week you could see him declare for the process.
Yeah.
I
think that's probably a given, right? Like, there's not a situation where he doesn't at least do that.
Izzo wouldn't allow him to not do that.
Yeah.
He's at least going to get evaluated. That's for sure.
Let's talk about Izzo. Do you think? I was talking about Mikey about this on Sunday before the transfer portal stuff even happened. Do you think there's a version of this offseason where he retires?
He would do it there tomorrow, I think. I don't think so. I think he wants to go through the 2024 Final Four in Detroit in 2027.
Yeah, I do think the current landscape of college sports could push him to do it sooner rather than later, but I don't think it happens this offseason. Because that's exactly why Nick Saban's not coaching anymore.
Oh,
so,
that's why a lot of guys aren't coaching anymore.
I know, but I'm going with a specific Hall of Fame.
I gotcha. Okay.
Vibe. Yeah,
I gotcha. Yeah, I think
not just some Joe Schmo who was leading some program.
Yeah, it's a knee-jerk reaction from me, but he was already pretty upset about the landscape as it is.
Yeah,
and I think he probably knew or had an inkling that these 3 guys were going to enter the portal. I don't think he was caught off guard by this. Having said that, I don't think he wants to deal with this very few.
No, I don't.
Very
I
many
agree.
more times.
I don't
I
think he
think
does. Yeah.
I think he will. If he was going to retire, I think he would have announced it already.
Yeah.
I think he has 1 or 2 more years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like I don't think he's going to do a big time retirement tour.
I don't think so either.
I feel
Yeah,
like
I don't think he's that kind of guy. Honestly,
I feel like he might like. I just feel like we'll know when it's his last year. Like,
Yeah. I think you'll see it. You'll know. I think it's a good way to
Yeah,
say it.
you'll
Nicky.
be able to sense it somehow.
I don't see him being the guy that announces it, a month before the season so that he gets a gift everywhere he goes. I don't necessarily think he wants that. I think, Michigan State or college basketball, the powers that be might force him to do that because he deserves it. There's no doubt he
Yeah.
deserves it. I don't think he wants that.
I could see him before
agreed.
like March Madness, maybe.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
I'm done after this. Like,
Yeah.
I just think with the recruiting, like we'll know from recruiting.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it'll be one of those seasons where you hear him saying like, I've got more energy now. Like I'm committed. I want to do this for as long as possible. Like I think his answers will be a little more telling.
Yeah,
He's not going to say I'm done, but he probably won't say what he was saying this year.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You'll sense like a tone change in his press conferences.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If he gets number 2, he might just retire there. He might just
I'm
say,
done.
I'm done.
not even go out and cut the nets or anything. Literally just go leave.
And I would do not care if he does that. That would be the coolest thing ever, honestly.
How much of a jump do you think we need to get on his replacement? Like when
It's going to be either Washington or whoever his other assistant, Brogdanoff or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
We're gonna be succession guys. I think.
I think they have a good idea of who his successor is already.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm saying like how quickly do you think they need to jumpstart the process when the time comes?
Well, if it's one of the guys Nicky named, it's already
it's already been jumpstarted.
Right?
Yeah,
I think they'll go outside, but I
do too.
It's hard to replace and you can ask Villanova about this. It's hard to replace a legendary coach.
Oh yeah,
you do not want to replace a legendary coach with a guy that's done absolutely nothing, like they did with Jay Wright and Kyle Neptune.
Well, you can look at Duke right now. I mean,
yes,
3 years.
That was a program guy. Yeah, so.
Yeah. I think that's fair, right? For every one that's wrong, there's probably one that you could say worked out.
But I would also count like a former player as somewhat of an outside hire. Now,
yes,
Shire's case, he was on the
Tom. Lou Rawls.
Shire's case, he happened to be on the Duke bench, but
yeah. Well, it's one of the my takeaways. I think I'm not so upset that Trey Holloman's leaving. Like Nick said, I've kind of made my peace with it. But Trey Holloman leaving to me just signified, like, okay, this is the beginning of the end of Tom Izzo's career.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's starting now. Like whenever he does retire, we're gonna look back and say Trey Holloman transferring was when it all started to, the music started to play.
Yeah, it's a big reality check.
Yeah,
for sure.
That felt like the point of no return of like,
yes,
Tom, and it's gonna suck for me to say this, but Tom is like this. That kind of felt like the point of no return, where I don't think I can care as much anymore after that.
Yeah. Like if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't blame him.
Like
honestly.
these are truly just guys who live in East Lansing now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
They're guys who live in East Lansing for 2 years.
Yeah. I agree. Well, it was a great season, and just like the MSU team, the Spartans, we gave it all we had to. Thank you all for being here with us along the way. It has been a great ride, from losing the Champions Classic to Trey Holloman hitting the half-court shot versus Maryland, all the way up until Sunday night. It's been a journey and a successful one at that. But we will keep going, and football season will be right around the corner.
Yay.
Hopefully they find Mel Tucker.
That was enthusiastic as hell.
Any closing thoughts? from you two before we put a wrap on the 2025 or 2024-25 MSU basketball season?
I just hope Mel Tucker's okay.
Yes, if you're out there, Mel,
Please reach
send
out
the
to me.
signal.
Give us a call.
We're here to help. Travis, any
It'll
thoughts?
be better for you if you just lean into it.
Yeah, honestly, probably. Yeah.
Accept the blame.
I did
do it,
and I do it again.
That's right, I did it. Oh, all right. Well, I don't know when we'll get back. We'll probably give the season some time to breathe. But when there's something to talk about, we'll talk about it. So, with that, like, subscribe, follow on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Check out the College Huddle. And we will see you when we see you. Go Green.
Go White.
Right.